Hello everyone, my name is Tom, I am the Sugma Male, and I'm going back to this camera for now. What I was doing was I would set up my phone, I would record off there, and then do the audio through here on my desktop. But what I realized is there's some weird frame rate stuff that happens and makes the audio go all out of sync. And so I'm like, for now, let's just stick to this, because this is fine. For what these are not supposed to be like spectacular. In fact, I feel like it almost adds like an extra amount of charm to have like a webcam type thing instead of like a proper like HD, you know what I mean? Like, y'all know what I mean. So today, what I want to talk about is another chapter in Elon Musk being a total terrorist on the general public. Now, for me personally, I've been disliking Elon Musk since before it was cool. Ever since he was putting microchips in monkey brains that made them self-mutilate and unalive themselves. And also just the fact that like the infrastructure for high-speed rails in this country are non-existent, mostly because when that was proposed, he was like, nah, I got a better idea. Proposed a total joke of infrastructure in the whatever it was called. And then admitted after that was a disaster that like, yeah, no, I just didn't want high-speed rail because I don't like the idea of public transportation where I have to be in contact with other people, these disgusting pores. I don't want to be within their general vicinity. So now whenever there is a thing that I want to see, a tour that is not coming through Detroit because they would rather go to Chicago since that's a less scary part of the Midwest, marginally. Or for example, Forbidden Door was just announced and it's going to be in Ontario, and I'm looking at both of these places where I'm realizing like in both cases it's like a 5-6 hour drive, and if we just had high-speed rails that would be like a 30-minute back and forth. Just like this total marvel of humanity that other places have that we just do not have in America, despite being the richest country in the world. And I'm just like, damn, bro, like I could, this would just be such a luxury, such a like public service that would make life so much better, so much easier. But we just don't have that. You know why? Because we don't get nice things. Because Elon Musk, thank you very much. Anyways, that's not even what I wanted to talk about. I just kind of went off on that because that's been on my mind. Because I'm like, damn, bro, there's all this stuff I want. Like, that's just been in my brain. With the many other things in my brain recently. It's getting really loud up here. I don't like it. Speaking of being very loud in my brain, the reason I'm making this video is because we have a problem. Well, we don't really have a problem. It's just, this is a minor annoyance that I think that most of us have been dealing with recently. And that is Twitter, specifically the For You page on Twitter. Now, first off, I want to just make it clear, because some people didn't realize this or just never put this together. The For You page on Twitter has always existed. It just wasn't always called the For You page. There's always been a generated page of suggested tweets on Twitter that you can access, and it's just called the Top Tweets page. Or it was. That's what it used to be. And you would just, every time you had to re-download Twitter or like re-log in or whatever, for any reason, you would pull up your timeline, you would see it was on the wrong one, and then you would just go to the corner, and you would just click the drop-down menu, and you would go to latest tweets instead, and you would resume scrolling on Twitter like normal. However, now we've just taken those timelines, and we've essentially combined them in the fact that you can just go back and forth. And the reason why this is like so egregious in my opinion is because I personally have been making a point in this year to be more of a normal human being who happens to make stuff for the internet and less of a perpetually online person who is struggling to hold on to their humanity. And part of that is just learning how to not use Twitter as much, because I think most people would benefit from that, and I think I'm in that most people category, where I feel like I use Twitter too much. I feel like I see things that I don't need to be seeing. I'm engaging with discourse I don't care enough to engage in, that doesn't affect me. And it used to be easy enough to go through your following and just be like, oh, okay, here we go. I've seen everything I care to see. That's an anime girl. But now, when you realize like, okay, I've seen everything on my following page, now it's like a psychological instinct to go straight to the For You page and be like, oh, there's 70 tweets here. And if you go through and you scroll long enough, you're bound to see something that's just gonna make you upset. This is something I've been seeing a lot of people mention, especially since the last Twitter update. Something went awry with their algorithm and recommending things, where now it feels like it's doubled down in the provocative category of like getting people upset just so they stay on the app and engage more. You would think that making people upset would make them use the app less, but I don't think that's the case. I think people get upset and then they're like, oh geez, now I need to like expend my energy into like, you know, thinking about this. And it's just not good for your mental state. Like, we as humans were not made for social media and the internet and all this stuff, just constantly throwing so much feedback and so much information in our space faces. We just weren't made for that. We were not built for that. Like, it is not good for your mental health to just have this constantly happening. And the other day, a friend of mine by the name of Vanta J, you may know him as JYT Gamer, he is a streamer and such, and he has a YouTube and all that stuff. Go check him out. He mentioned that on his For You page, there was a whole unaliving yourself note, someone's self, and that was just being recommended to him. And at first I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I opened up my For You page, and one of the first posts was someone quote retweeting that exact tweet of someone posting their unaliving themselves note. I don't want to sound insensitive, because like, I'm sure whoever that person is, I'm not happy about the facts that they did that. But the thing is like, I don't know that person, and I don't need to know that they did that. I don't need to know every single person who does that. In fact, there's a thing called clusters around this specific act that happens, where when someone does that, when someone is exposed to the fact that someone did that, it raises the probability of more people following in their footsteps, because that can trigger like the ideation and stuff. Like, it's a mental health phenomenon that's been like well documented, and the fact that that's just showing up on people's For You page, it's really concerning, like, about what's actually being measured in the algorithm if stuff like that is showing up. And I think the easiest solution to this problem is just change the format back to where you can just switch timelines entirely. But the problem ultimately is, I know why they switched to this model. I know why they did this instead, because doing this makes people more likely to stay on the app. It makes people more likely to use the site. It increases the time that people spend on Twitter, whether that's actually a net positive or not, which in this case, it seems like it's not. And it's especially in Twitter's interest if part of that involves getting you on a feed of tweets that are made to get a reaction out of you, that are made to make you upset, and made to create this sense of feeling that makes you end up spending more time on the app than you would like to. It's essentially getting people addicted to doom scrolling, and that is not a good thing. But guess what? If Twitter is going to profit off of it, especially looking at who's in charge, they don't care. Anyways, I'm just kind of rambling about this. My point is I miss the old days where you could just turn that recommended page off. I don't care what you think. I hate it on Instagram too. I don't like the idea that these social media algorithms, these robots, these beep beep boop bop brained like AI whatevers, think that they can analyze my behavior and predict what I want to see, because it's never correct. I see people talking about how, like, oh my god, like, these algorithms are crazy, like, they know me better than I know myself. I'm like, dog, they don't know me at all. They just know how to make me upset. Whenever I see something on social media that makes me upset, that makes me like, man, now my day is worse because of this, whenever that happens, it's always through the recommended. It's never through my curated timeline of people who I've chosen to follow. It is always recommending me stuff that I don't care about seeing and I would rather not see. But that's the stuff that like keeps you addicted, that keeps you like, man, like I feel something and I'm like just gonna keep scrolling because like I'm given a reaction or whatever, and like it's just such an unhealthy thing to get like roped into. And like I said, I'm doing better about like not letting that happen. I feel like I've made some progress, not as much progress as I would like. I would like to be one of those people on Twitter who posts like once a month, or really just posts like when I have like videos like this that I need to promote. I would like to just be like that kind of a user, but my brain is broken. But I'm working on it. But we're doing good. We're doing better. I'm not using it as much. I am doom scrolling enough to see what a mess the For You page is, and I find myself actively having to be like, no, stop, close the app, go do something else. Like, I feel myself having to do that a lot more. So I just wish we could go back to the good old days where you could just be like, these are the people I choose to follow, this is what I want to see, this is what I'm choosing to see. Stop showing me stuff I don't care. I didn't say I wanted to see. Anyways, that's all I gotta say.